Chapter 4, Lesson 8, Dividing Mixed Numbers. Our content and language target for today, content, students will understand that dividing fractions is the inverse of multiplying fractions. And our language target is, students will demonstrate this understanding by using the reciprocal of the second fraction to solve the division of mixed numbers. So to divide a mixed number by a fraction is very similar to dividing fractions. To divide mixed numbers, we have to write the mixed numbers as an improper fraction and then divide as the fractions. So just as a couple of examples, I have 4 1/2. I'm going to write that as an improper fraction. To do that, I'm going to use the MAD method. Okay, the first thing I want to do is multiply. I'm going to multiply my whole number 4 times the denominator. So 4 times 2 is 8. So I write that down below so I remember in my head what number I got when I multiplied. The second thing is to do is add. I'm going to add that 8, that 4 times 2, to the numerator. So 1 plus 8 is 9. And the last thing about MAD is my denominator. The denominator of a fraction of this mixed number stays the same. So if 2 is my denominator here, 2 has to be my denominator here. So 4 1/2 is the same as 9 halves. Let's take a look at another one. Let's look at 3 5/6. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to multiply my whole number times my denominator. So I take 3 times 6. 3 times 6 is 18. I'm now going to add 18 to my numerator, plus 18. 5 plus 18 is 23. The last thing is my denominator. My denominator stays the same. So if my denominator here is 6, my denominator here is 6. So 3 5/6 is the same as 23/6. So now we can go on, we can practice to multiply or divide a mixed number by a fraction. So find 1 3/4 divided by 2/3. So I have 1 3/4 divided by 2/5. So here I have my mixed number. I want to change that to an improper fraction. Okay, so I'm going to take 1 times 4. 1 times 4 is 4. I'm going to add that to my numerator. So 3 plus 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. My 4 is my denominator. My 4 stays my denominator here. So there's my fraction. 1 3/4 is the same as 7/4. Now, not only am I using the MAD method to help me change that improper fraction or mixed number to an improper fraction, now I have to remember my keep, change, flip because we are dividing fractions. So I'm going to keep this first fraction the same, 7/4. But now I'm going to change my sign from divide to multiply. And I'm going to flip the second fraction. We only ever flip the second fraction. So 2/5 would now become 5/2. And now I multiply. Multiply numerator times numerator. 7 times 5 is 35. 4 times 2 is 8. And again, you can do this a couple different ways. I'll make equal groups this time. 35, I subtract 8. I get 27. I subtract 8 again. I get 19. I subtract 8 again, I get 11. I subtract 8 again, I get 3. So how many groups of 8 did I take out? 1, 2, 3, 4. What's left? 3. What am I subtracting? 8. So 4 3/8. Let's look at example number 2. 3 3/4 divided by 4/5. So I have 3 3/4 divided by 4/5. So again, I have MAD, M-A-D, right? Multiply. I take my whole number to multiply that by my denominator. 3 times 4 is 12. I'm going to add that to the numerator. So 3 plus 12 is 15. Denominator, it stays the same. So 4 is my denominator here. 4 is my denominator here. So there we changed our mixed number to an improper fraction. Now I have my keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction the same, 15/4. Change the sign from divide to multiply. And flip the second fraction, right? So 4/5 is now going to be 5/4. So then I multiply. 15 times 5, which is 30, 60, 75. And 4 times 4 is 16. Those are some big numbers. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do equal groups because I don't know 16s very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Mr. Cutsforth's Clever page. Here it is, the big polar bear. Click on his page and open it up. And the very last calculator I have is called Simplifying Fractions. So what I do is I'm going to use my calculator here and type in 75 as my numerator. My denominator was 16. I'm going to hit calculate, and it's going to show me what the mixed number is, which is 4 and 11/16. And that is the answer to that problem. So let's look at the got it problem. So I'll do the first one, and then I want you to pause the video to try the last two on your own. So letter A says 2 3/8 divided by 1/4. So again, to change 2 3/8 to a mixed number, I have 2 3/8. I multiply my whole number times denominator. 2 times 8 is 16. I add that to the 3. 16 plus 3 is 19. And my denominator stays the same, which is 8. Then I can use my keep, change, flip. So I keep the first fraction the same. Change the sign from divide to multiply, and flip the second fraction to 4/1. When I do that, I multiply 19 times 4. If you want to use a calculator, you're more than welcome to. This would be 80 minus 4 is 76. 8 times 1 is 8. And again, I'm going to use my simplifying calculator, 76/8. And I come up with 9 1/2. So what I'd like you to do is to pause the video. I want you to try B and C on your own. So letter B, 2 1/2 divided by 3/7. So to change 2 1/2, I multiply 2 times 2, which is 4. Add 4 to my numerator. 1 plus 4 is 5. 2 is my denominator, it stays the same. I change the sign from divide to multiply, and then I flip the second fraction. So where the denominator is now the numerator is now the denominator. And then I multiply. 5 times 4 is 20. 2 times 1 is 2. And if I use a calculator this time, I can divide 20 divided by 2. I find that answer is 10. So the letter C, 5 and 5/8. We have to change that to an improper fraction. So I take 5 times 8, which is 40. I then add that to my numerator. 5 plus 40 is 45. Denominator is 8. It has to stay 8. Now I go to my keep the first fraction the same, change the sign from divide to multiply, and flip the second fraction. 3/4 is now 4/3. When I multiply, 45 times 4 is 180. 8 times 3 is 24. So again, I can go back to my calculator, 180 over 24. Again, it does not matter the size of this fraction because it will tell you your mixed number, which is 7 1/2. So when we divide by a mixed number, to divide a mixed number by another mixed number, we change both of the mixed numbers to improper fractions. Remember to simplify before you multiply. Sometimes that's easier said than done. Again, for us, we have that simplifying calculator that makes it a little bit easier for us. So we want to find 5 1/2 divided by 2 1/2. So let's change 5 1/2 to an improper fraction. Again, remember, improper fraction, I want to use MAD. Multiply my whole number times denominator. 5 times 2 is 10. I'm going to add that to my numerator. 1 plus 10 is 11. And the D is for denominator, it stays the same. So I have 11 over 2. Now for 2 1/2, I do the same thing. 2 times 2 is 4. So 2 times 2 is 4. I add that to my numerator. 1 plus 4 is 5. And my denominator does not change. It is 2. So I have 11 halves. Now I'm going to remember my keep, change, flip. So now 5 1/2 is now 11 halves. I'm going to keep that the same. I'm going to change the sign from divide to multiply. And I'm going to flip the second fraction. 2 1/2 is 5 halves. So I have to flip that. So I have 2/5. When I do this, I multiply across. 11 times 2 is 22. 2 times 5 is 10. And when I put that in the simplest form, 22/10, I get 2 1/5. A little bit more work when you have two mixed numbers because you have to change both of those to improper fractions. Look at letter D. Got it. We have 4 1/5 divided by 2 1/3. So we're going to change both of those to improper fractions before I multiply. So again, MAD, M-A-D, multiply, add denominator. So I take 4 times 5, which is 20. I then add that to my numerator. 1 plus 20 is 21. And denominator means the 5 stays the same. So there's my 5. If I look at 2 1/3, I take 2 times 3, which is 6. I add the 6 to the numerator. 1 plus 6 is 7. 3 stays the same as my denominator. So my first fraction is 4 1/2. That's going to be 21/5. I then want to change the sign from divide to multiply. And I'm going to flip the second fraction from 7/3 to 3/7. Then I can multiply across. 21 times 3 is 63. 5 times 7 is 35. So I have 63 over 35. I go to my calculator. 63 over 35. I find that I get 1 4/5. So I want you to pause and I want you to try E and F on your own. So letter E, 8 divided by 2 1/2. So we need to change 2 1/2 to a improper fraction. So 2 1/2, we take 2 times 2, which is 4, and then add 4 to my numerator. 1 plus 4 is 5, and 2 stays the same as my denominator. So to write 8 as a fraction, that's 8 over 1. I change the sign from divide to multiply, and then I flip the second fraction, so 5 over 2 is now 2 over 5. Then I multiply. 8 times 2 is 16. 5 times 1 is 5. I'm going to use my equal groups. I'm going to take 16 minus 5, which is 11, minus 5, which is 6, minus 5, which is 1. So that is 1, 2, 3 groups of 5. 1 is left out of 5. And letter F, 1 5/9. So 1 5/9 is the same as 1 times 9, which is 9, plus 5 is 14. 9 is my denominator, 9 stays the same. 2 1/3. 2 times 3 is 6. Add the 6 to the 1. 1 plus 6 is 7. 3 is my denominator. There's my division problem. Now I'm going to remember my keep, change, flip. 14/9 stays the same. Change the sign from divide to multiply. Flip the second fraction. So I get 3/7. If I multiply across, 3 times 14 would be 42. 9 times 7 is 63. So 42 over 63, let's find out what that is. 42, 63, and in simplest form, that would be 2/3.